Okay, I've been looking forward to this the entire show. A new segment that we call Come On! I think it's pretty self-explanatory, right?
I agree.
Okay, now the face of this franchise, the face of memes all over the world is my man, Easy Ed. Ed is about 5'2", a big old thick neck, and he's got a sharp mouth. He's funny. And the reason he was on this show, Cody, is he's 54 years old. He was dating. Again, we always say dating because they haven't seen each other before this show. They've only been talking online. So he was talking to a 23-year-old Philippine young woman who has a child named Rose. Very, very, very sweet. And Easy Ed, every single step of the way, stepped in it. And when I say he stepped in it, he stepped in it. I want all the women who are watching right now to try to imagine if a man did this to you and said these things to you, how you would react. All right. Are you ready, Cody?
Ready when you are.
Okay. So when he landed in the Philippines, the very first time, they were sitting at a restaurant. They were sitting, talking. They have to use the translation app. She speaks a little bit of English, not very much. Very, very sweet girl. And he hands her an STD test right off the jump. She doesn't understand what it was. So she's completely offended because basically he's telling her, I think you've been with all these guys and I want to make sure. Now, in real life, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a way of presenting it, right? You should say, I did one. Would you be willing to do one as well, right? Put it on yourself. He didn't do that. She's offended from the jump. Number 2, he wakes up after the 1 or 2 nights, and he says, "Hey, your legs are very hairy. You don't shave them. They're a lot like mine." I'm guessing, Cody, there's not a woman on the planet that has legs like Ed's. I don't think there's one. So, of course, she looks at him, and she's offended again. And the funniest part of this whole show is she'll say something to him when she insults him in her language. Mm-hmm. And he has no idea what she says, right? So the next thing, it makes me laugh every time I think about it. She has an ulcer that causes her to have bad breath, okay? But instead of asking her about it, he just buys her a new toothpaste and new toothbrush. He hands it to her and says, "You have breath that is not pretty." And she looks at it, she's dumbfounded and completely offended. So she gets up, she walks to the bathroom, and in her own language, she says, "You're ugly." And you see it written on the screen, but he doesn't know what she says. So he looks at the camera guys and he goes, "I love you." She says, "You're ugly again." And he goes, is that I love you? I hope it's I love you. And she, oh my God, it's so funny when she just goes, "You're ugly," or "You're fat," or whatever, because she's so offended of what he just said to her. And I don't blame her. Yeah. I don't blame her for being offended. There's ways of doing it and being respectful. It doesn't stop there. On the tell-all, right? You'd think that'd be enough. On the tell-all, she's so upset, she asked for a translator so she can make sure and get her points across. And she basically tells everybody that in the last 3 months, he tried to get back together with her. He claims he didn't. He brought the receipts. But she claims that he asked her to be in a sex video. And what she meant by that was he says, "I will pay you money on a FaceTime call for you to take off your clothes." After all of those things that he already asked her to do, she's not attracted to him anymore because of those things. And then he has the audacity in February around Valentine's Day to ask for a Valentine's Day present of her taking her clothes off. That was it for me. And I said, you know what? This is the very first recipient of the 90-Day Our Way podcast. Come on, Ed. Be better than that.
Come on, Ed. The thing that got me to say come on the most was that he brought the receipts. My man was sitting there on the Zoom call with his phone out, text as massive as could be, scrolling through. He had the receipts. And the interesting part to me about the tell-all, and tell me what you think about this. So she was so worked up that she needed the translator, right? But then this
Mm-hmm.
little piece of story comes in where she had started to date a woman after they broke up. Now,
Yes.
my theory, and I want to know what you think about this, is that the translator was the woman that she was dating.
Wow. Wow. That's interesting. The reason I don't think you're right is because the translator's voice sounded much older. To me, it sounded older. Now, not that she can't date an older woman like she did with Ed, but I just don't think that was the case. But it's an interesting theory. But she admitted to dating the woman. She didn't deny it. And when asked, she said, I was trying to move on from Ed, which all of us would have done the same thing. Who was going to wait around for Ed after he does that to you, right? And she was like, liar, liar, liar. I was trying to move on. I was trying to move on with my life. I do a great Rose impression. And everybody else on the tell-all, they adore her. She's such a sweet person. She's so nice. But the kicker, and what really was at the basis for this not working out, was she wants 2 more kids. She was very, very honest about that. He doesn't even tell her till he gets there, I want no more children. I have a daughter, and that's it. And that to me was the saddest thing, because even on the tell-all, he said he was willing for a second time to give up the relationship with his daughter.
Yeah.
And then right after that, the daughter comes on the tell-all in tears. She's devastated. What daughter would ever want to hear that their father was willing to give them up for a relationship that clearly was never going to work? To his credit, Cody, he apologized. He goes, that's not what I meant the second time, because he already lost her the first time. And he's like, I didn't mean it like that. He said, I was willing to because of love, and love makes you do crazy things. Clearly, because that's what this show is based on, is people doing crazy things for love. And Ed is just, he's a great character. And there's a new show coming up called B90 Strikes Back. And I think Ed's going to be the star, because social media and people, they crush him. And they've been crushing him for all the stupid things he did to Rose during the season. I can't wait to break down those episodes in a couple of weeks, because Ed, I like him. And I think he has good intentions. He just has horrible tact. He doesn't know how to put anything.
Now, Coach, I'm going to reach for a cheap one here. It's crazy to me that someone who looks like Ed is not afraid to stick their neck out. Now, someone who was a little fearful to stick her neck out, or maybe other things, was Steph. Now, she plays off like she's this free spirit. She's all about being open and free with herself on the internet, and obviously fill in the blanks there for everyone at home. But the second she arrived, it was almost like she was the complete opposite. You know, a little prudish, a little not willing to be that online persona. Now, I want to hear from you. What did you think about that? And why is this in our Come On segment?
When I think of Erica, who was the Australian girlfriend that Stephanie flew to see, and Stephanie still had not come out to her mother yet. She's bisexual, and so is Erica. And what we didn't realize when the season started is that Steph has so many insecurities. There's so many things that trigger her, that Erica would still hang out with people she had dated. That was a trigger. She still would have the dating websites on their apps on her phone. That was a trigger. And every time Stephanie would get upset, she would throw something and she would storm out. She can't have an adult conversation and say, this is why I'm feeling this way. She also has a very significant illness that it's dangerous for her to go anywhere for long periods of time. She's got to have this equipment to help her breathe. It's a very serious situation. And her friends on the tell-all accused Erica of not being open to that, not studying her illness, not understanding what she has to go through on a daily basis. Erica was blindsided every single step of the way. How Steph makes her living is doing provocative videos online. So if you're dating somebody like that and you're seeing this content, you would assume when she flies to Australia to see you for 3 weeks that you're going to have some kind of physical intimacy, and she's going to be a lot more receptive than, I don't think we should hug, I don't think we should hold hands, I think we should sleep in separate beds until I feel comfortable. Wait a second. You're willing to tell dudes every single day that you're willing to do that with them. And I understand everybody's got to earn their paycheck different ways. I get it. But when you show yourself as one person and you show up and you're a completely different person, I mean, come on. Come on! You got to be better than that.
Well, and I think a point that you bring up that is maybe not worth diving into now, but something that we're obviously going to continue to touch on as the series goes on, is the type of mental space you have to be in, right, to be doing that, is one that is attention wanting. It's you don't end up in that profession, for lack of a better word, if you don't like the attention. And so you should know that if that is the person that you're going to choose to be with or date, that is going to come with it. That person isn't just going to become unselfish and not liking of attention. So it's one of those things where if you're going to love that person, you have to love them for the things you don't like, and you have to love them for the things you do like. And obviously here, there was a huge disconnect.
Oh, a huge disconnect. And I thought Erica kind of wrapped it up brilliantly when she was asked by Sean Robinson, is there a future? Is there a way that you would want to stay in Steph's life? She didn't even blink an eye. She goes, absolutely not. I mean, she was over it. She tried every single step of the way to make it work, to make Steph feel comfortable. She took her on adventures. They did fun things. And Steph just couldn't handle it. She's not the type of person that this show or these type of relationships are for. And for that reason, all we can say to Steph right now is, come on.